Okay guys, I'm back again. This time with a quick review on the Powermate PM0143250. This unit was sent to me for review by the good folks over at Pramac America. They're the parent company of Powermate generators. Just want to go ahead and give them a special thanks because without them and companies like them, I wouldn't be able to review these products for you guys. So the PM0143250 is one of their new WX Power series of generator introduced in 2014. It's considered an emergency grade generator. The series includes units that range anywhere from 1200 all the way up to 8000 watts, all sharing similar design and features. So far I've been reviewing this unit for just over 1 month and have put 22 hours on it. Within the 22 hours I've only burned about 6 gallons worth of fuel with various loads ranging from a 12,000 BTU window air conditioner, a 1500 watt space heater, actually a couple of those, a 25 cubic inch side-by-side refrigerator, and many other items like chargers, fans, lights, and computers that you would normally run during a power outage. The unit is mainly designed for emergency power outages but can also be used in recreational and other outdoor activities. In fact, it comes with an L5-30R to TT-30R RV style adapter for such activities. Before I get started into more of the review, let me first give you a basic rundown of the specs. It's a general open frame alternator style generator. It's a portable generator. So on the market right now you have two basic styles of portable generator. You have inverter generators, which are a little bit different. They have a little bit quieter operation, although they are much more expensive. And you have this open framed alternator style generator, which is going to give you more bang for your buck and in some cases has been proven to be more reliable. It also features a high strength tubular steel frame, has 3250 running watts and 4050 surge watts, so pretty powerful unit. At the top of the tank here we have a 4.5 gallon capacity with fuel gauge. We also have a fuel strainer which doubles as the max fill marker. It has a little red circle to help you keep from overfilling the tank. We have a metal fuel cap which contains a retainer chain to help you to keep from losing it. We have a warning label at the top telling you the dangers of operating a generator and how to operate it safely, also how to fill the tank properly. And finally, on the top of the tank here, we have an EPA certified vapor reburn system. Basically in 2010, all generators in the United States are required to have a system like this, which basically takes any fuel vapors developed in the tank and reburns them back into the carburetor. Previously, units like this were just allowed to let those vapors release into the atmosphere, but as part of a 2010 EPA mandate, all generators sold in the United States now have to have that. What I also like about this gas tank is not only its large capacity, but also it features this little inset section sort of creating a little pool area to safely contain fuel spills. And also if you have an extreme fuel spill, it helps it channel to one side instead of going all over the tank. This feature also aids in keeping the tank from vibrating as it empties, since it adds that little bit of structure. With my other generator, I have a 3000 watt generator. Its fuel tank tends to vibrate as it empties, adding to the overall volume. I could actually hear it over the engine. So with this guy, the tank stays nice and stable as it becomes empty. Moving on to the front of the unit here, we have the control panel which contains the on-off switch. We have a digital multimeter for displaying voltage. It also displays hours, hertz, as well as maintenance intervals. We also have two 5-20R 120 volt 20 amp duplex outlets, each with 2 plugs for a total of 4. They have protective dust covers, and between them are 2 circuit breakers controlling each. Next to them we have the single L5-30P 120 volt 30 amp twist lock receptacle, which has its own 30 amp circuit breaker and also a protective dust cover. Below its circuit breaker we have the grounding screw. If possible, you always want to ground this generator. It is a portable generator and will run without it, especially if you're just running corded accessories. But if at all possible, especially during storms, you want to go ahead and either tie this to your house's existing ground with a copper wire, or what I'm going to do is just go to a like a home supply store like Home Depot or Lowe's, get a couple of feet of solid copper wire, run that into the ground, and run a wire from that for my ground. Also on the front side here, it's a little difficult to see, but we have a low oil shutdown sensor, which helps prevent the unit from starting if it's low on oil, and also shuts it off safely if it runs low on oil while running. We have a high visibility yellow oil dipstick, so you can see that quite easily. That also doubles as the fill area. We have one of two oil drain plugs. I believe those require a 13mm socket or a wrench to remove them. We have an oil information sticker at the bottom of the frame rail here, and we have one of the 10-inch flat free wheels, which is part of the included mobility kit. On the left hand side of the unit here, we have a filtered fuel peacock at the bottom of the tank to operate the gravity fed fuel system. The filter screen is at the bottom. It operates as a secondary filtration system to help keep the carburetor nice and clean. You can remove it and clean it periodically. The top of the tank, we have a start instruction sticker which shows you how to get the unit started. In the middle here, we have an aluminum block 208cc 4-cycle overhead valve engine with a cast iron cylinder liner. Features up to 7 horsepower. It allows the unit to run for up to 12.2 hours on a half load, which is roughly going to be 1600 watts. It is a recoil only start system. You don't have electric start, but it is relatively easy to pull. We have a high visibility yellow choking lever. I like that everything that you either need to adjust or check on is highlighted in yellow so that you can easily see it. But that choking lever also has its own little sticker with a graphic showing you its orientation. We have a single foam element air filter which needs to be pre-oiled before the unit is started. We have a start instruction sticker at the top of the tank again, and then finally we have two rubberized folding carry handles that lock in place. Spinning the unit around to the back here, getting it in frame, we have even more safety warning stickers. This thing has stickers all over it, but they're helpful stickers. All the information you ever want to know is on those stickers, and also included in the owner's manual. But we also have access to the valve cover and spark plug. We have the exhaust heat shield and oversized muffler. We have an extra support brace which helps keep the unit rigid and keeps it from vibrating. Some people are going to add a chain to that. The manual kind of specifies you don't want to add a chain, lock the unit down, because in case something goes wrong you want to be able to move it in an emergency. But I feel as long as it's far away from your house and other objects that can put in harm, I would probably put a chain on there, but the manual does not want you to do that. And then finally, on the bottom here, we have our second oil drain, which again requires around a 13mm socket. Spinning the unit around, if I can. On the right-hand side here, we have an information sticker containing the model, serial, build date, and power output information. We have the single-phase 120-volt 60Hz 3600 RPM brushed alternator, which has an access cover to check on the brushes, as well as the automatic voltage regulation unit. This unit has AVR in it to help keep surges from happening, so you can run sensitive equipment off of this. It has the exhaust outlet side on the right hand side here, which contains a spark arrestor screen, which makes this unit 49 state legal. It's not available for sale in California as it is not CARB compliant, and also not available for sale in Canada. So the unit came with a ton of accessories, including free oil, an oil funnel. We have a toolkit featuring a double-ended wrench with a 10mm and 13mm side. We have a spark plug tool, a wheel kit, an Allen wrench used to install the wheel kit, which is going to include the 10-inch flat free wheels, rubberized feet, and of course the carry handles. We have a 3-pins RV style adapter, and of course we have the user manual, which is also downloadable as a PDF on the Powermate website. So all in all, a pretty feature-packed generator that all I had to provide to get it up and running was a little fuel and a little elbow grease. The unit came well packaged and was freighted to me. The box was a little weird to handle. It made maneuvering the unit a little difficult. I almost felt as if I needed help carrying it, but I managed it by myself. The unit itself weighs around 107 pounds, so it's got some weight to it, but certainly not too heavy for me to handle by myself. The only weird handling again was holding it in the box, but as you can see here, I can easily lift this generator. In fact, I can walk around with it. I'm not struggling to hold it. I can easily put this in the back of an SUV or van or something like that by myself and not have to request any additional help. So 107 pounds, you'll notice the weight, but not too heavy for one person to handle. So as far as the packaging, the material did a good enough job protecting the unit during shipping. All included accessories were either in plastic bags or a separate cardboard box. After I unboxed everything, I went ahead and installed the wheel kit, which took me all about 15 minutes. I then added oil and then rolled the unit outside for safety before adding the gas. To start it, I turned the fuel peacock on, gave the unit 5 to 6 slow pulls to pre-lube the cylinder, and help fill the carburetor bowl. The unit started with the first real pull, but started out a little rough. I later found that for some reason I had actually accidentally switched off the fuel peacock to the off position, essentially starving the unit. So after letting it run for a few minutes, I realized my error and the unit ran normally. So for the first 8 hours of operation, I ran the unit with a relatively light load of only 100 watts. I didn't want to run anything too heavy yet, as the manual specifies the unit must go through a 25-hour break-in period before it can safely run a full load. Obviously, you have to break in things like seals and bearings properly before running the engine too hard. My choice of load was relatively small, but users can actually run up to a half load without harming the unit during the break-in period. After running the unit for around 8 hours, I went ahead and changed the oil. The purpose of that was so that I can make an oil change video for you guys, because when I review products like this, I make around 3 videos: initial setup, unboxing, cold starts, things of that nature. So that's the only reason I changed the oil early, but the requirement is 25 hours. That's the longest you want to go for the first oil change. Subsequent oil changes come in at 100 hours. So after the oil change, I ran more significant loads on the generator, starting out with a 600 watt blower fan, and then I moved up to a 1500 watt space heater. The loads served a dual purpose, so I wanted to see how the generator would handle them, but also record the sound level the generator produced while running them. The manufacturer pretty much tests the unit in the open field at 23 feet to get the claimed 75 decibels. I don't have access to an open field, so the best place for my sound test was my backyard. Placed the generator between my deck, garage, and back fence, started the free sound level app on my phone, and recorded the results. At 0 feet, I recorded a noise level of 90 decibels, 82 decibels at 23 feet, and 76 decibels at a distance of 43 feet. I have no problem believing the unit can produce as low as 75 decibels at 23 feet, just not in the confined spaces of my backyard. Even though I wasn't able to reach the rated sound level, perceived noise was less than that of my lawnmower, and certainly quiet enough not to disturb my closest neighbor too much. Part of that has to do with the oversized muffler, but most of it is due to the modern overhead valve engine design. Another part of the sound test included me running the generator right around 15 feet away from one of the windows in the back of my house to see how loud the unit was. Through the closed glass, I measured a sound level of only 43 decibels. I personally would never run a generator this close to my house, so it was around 15 feet, but it does meet the minimum recommended distance for safely operating a generator near your house. Just be sure to keep any windows on the side of the generator it's running on closed during operation. It's also a good idea to run a battery-operated carbon monoxide detector in the room closest to the generator, just in case things go wrong. I further tested the generator's performance by running it through a series of torture tests, the first of which was conducted on an 89-degree day, where I ran the generator in direct sunlight with a 1500-watt space heater pointing towards the air intake at a distance of around 3 feet. This was done to see if the generator could run a heavy load on an extremely hot day, which is when a lot of power outages occur. Ran this load for a total of around 4 hours, and the results were actually good. The unit not only ran the load perfectly, but also failed to overheat thanks to the high-velocity mechanical cooling fan at the front of the engine, as well as the one built into the alternator housing. Also aiding the unit from not overheating is the aluminum components. You have an aluminum blocked engine, and you have an aluminum housing over the alternator, which help dissipate heat quicker than any other common metal like cast iron would. The second test I conducted on it happened on a 77-degree day, where I ran the unit near a full load with two 1500-watt space heaters. Decided that pointing the two units at the front of the engine would be a little too harsh, so I let them run at a distance of 6 feet this time for another 4 hours. Again, the unit came out unscathed. Ran other items later on during the testing period, but at that point I was fully satisfied with the reliability of the unit. So, as far as other tests, I then moved on to testing the wheel kit. For comparison, I rolled out my existing 3,000-watt generator, which features a 6-inch wheel kit with non-locking handles. My testing ground was a small step that transitions from my backyard to my back driveway, leading into my garage. I found my existing generator difficult to roll over the small step, as the wheels tended to lock up and the handles tended to fold up, resulting in me having to reposition myself to keep the unit from falling. I then brought out the PM0143250 and ran it over the same exact spot. Its 10-inch wheels still offered resistance, but since they are larger, have a wider stance, no stoppages were experienced. Also, the carry handles on this unit lock in place, so I didn't experience them inadvertently closing on me as I was maneuvering the unit, which kept it stable and I didn't lose my footing. The other feature that I tested on this unit was the built-in multimeter. For this test, I used a timer app on my cell phone to make sure the unit was recording time properly, and a standalone multimeter to record if it was reporting voltage correctly. The hour meter was right on, but I found the voltage readout to be slightly off by a few tenths of a volt. Something that's not going to be much of a concern, just as long as it's not a few full volts. In fact, with this not being a scientific test conducted with million-dollar equipment, I can't be too sure that my $20 multimeter wasn't the one that was slightly off. As far as testing the frequency readout in hertz, I couldn't really do that because my multimeter doesn't measure that, but as far as the onboard display, kept consistently with between 57 to 62 hertz, no matter how heavy or light the load was. All in all, testing of various loads, including fridges, computers, window AC units, and many other items, went without a hitch. And surprisingly, I only used 6 gallons worth of gas again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. That was after 22 hours of operation. Seeing these results, I believe that the unit would make a great emergency home backup power generator for just about anyone. Again, it's 100 pounds, but it's light enough for a single person to handle. It's fairly fuel efficient, fairly quiet, it's definitely reliable, and comes with almost everything you need to get it up and running except for fuel. So before I close the video out here, just to recap everything, I'm going to put it in categories of likes versus dislikes. I'll first start out with the likes. Definitely like the performance of it. Not only does it allow me to run basic emergency items like refrigerators, fans, lights, and various chargers, it also allows me to run a few nice luxury items to keep me comfortable during an outage, like 1500 watt or larger space heaters, and also AC units, I ran a 12,000 BTU window AC unit, which will cool down a single floor of my house, so everyone can pretty much stay in one general area of the house and be nice and cool during a summer power outage. I like the overall design of it. The tubular steel frame has a wide stance, making the unit very stable. It also provides wide access handles at the top and bottom of each side, allowing you to handle the unit just as well in the winter with gloves on as you could barehanded in warmer months. It's definitely reliable. Consistently starts with 1 to 3 pulls. No matter if I have ran the tank empty and just put fuel in it, or if I just simply turn the fuel peacock on. Also went through my torture testing without a problem. Its fuel efficiency is great. It has the oversized wheel kit, making it easy to maneuver. I love the multimeter. Not only can I see different parameters that tell me that the unit is running properly so I'm not going to damage any of my important equipment, but it also helps me out with maintenance intervals, since I can see, it's ran such and such hours, it's run 100 hours, time to change the oil, time to change the air filter, or things like that. Also like the information stickers. Even though there's a lot of them, they provide a lot of great information. The 1-800 number in case you have to make a warranty claim is near the back. There's oil information, there's safety warning stickers, there's starting procedures, and then there's the serial number and everything like that. Like the gas tank, it has a lot of nice features on it. The little retainer chain to keep you from losing the fuel cap, the fuel gauge, and most of all, I like the little indent in the tank that acts as a little pool to contain fuel spills, but also gives the unit a little bit more structure so that tank doesn't vibrate as much as it empties. I also like the lock and carry handles. With my other unit that I mentioned, even when not on uneven surfaces, those handles tended to drop and droop out on me when I was maneuvering my old unit. As far as dislikes, there's nothing too negative, but didn't like the difficulty of maneuvering the unit when it was in the box. Maybe if they had put some holes in the side for you to stick your hands into, it would have been a little bit easier. And then the carry handles have locking little pins in them that you push in, but they're a little difficult to depress. I believe I can remedy that with a little bit of oil. So just as a few tips before I close the video here, you definitely want to get a good extension cord, especially if you're going to be running heavy loads. Get a high quality extension cord that's long enough for you to run this unit safely away from your house. You can also get an extension cord that will go into the 3-pin twist lock receptacle for getting the full amperage out of the unit, as the other 4 plugs can only deliver up to 20 amps. You can get a 3-pin to regular plug, which will give you your full amperage. I suggest you run the carburetor dry every time you shut the unit off. That means you can have fuel in your tank. Go ahead, shut the fuel peacock off, let the unit run out of gas, preserving the fuel line, as well as keeping the carburetor bowl from getting varnished. Always run stabilized fuel. I have to do that especially because my fuel here in Michigan contains up to 10% ethanol at most gas stations. In fact, within a 15-mile radius, all my gas stations are going to be 10% ethanol. So I run Sta-Bil Fuel Stabilizer, which is specifically designed to treat ethanol fuel, and that reserves my fuel for up to 12 months. Also, you may want to get a battery-operated carbon monoxide detector. Don't anticipate anything going wrong with this generator, but as added insurance, because if something does go wrong, it could be catastrophic, I would definitely recommend one of those. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the review here. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me a question at the bottom. Again, I want to go ahead and thank the good folks over at Pramac America and Powermate Generators for sending me this unit for review. I definitely do appreciate that, and I'll enjoy using this for the next time I have a power outage. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and peace.